Hey guys, this is Grixon, doing an 18 timed dungeon here. Let's see, this week it's tyrannical. It's a pretty easy week, so I'm using Super Strain and Bone Storm. I'm kind of going pretty aggressive here with like a full DPS build. And so the reason is, just going to do as much DPS as possible because I'm pretty confident I'll stay alive for it. So yeah, I'm just kind of doing a normal pull here, set it up. I kind of messed up. That was actually a bad moment where I tried to death grip the incorrect mob. I tried to death grip the non-inspired one. I don't know, it's just like a bad use. So normally, if it's a harder week, I kind of bounce back and forth between Super Strain and Crimson Rune Rapin. I don't know, it just depends how I'm feeling. But lately I've been really liking Super Strain. I really like the damage and the threat it helps me hold. Yeah, so this is going to be a pretty standard route going on. You know, because it's tyrannical, I'm not going to do any skips before the gauntlet. I'm just going to do it pretty linear. I'll try and help, because the problem I've had is when I try and do the skip before the gauntlet on tyrannical weeks where it's pretty easy, something always happens. Someone always breaks something, or deaths happen on the gauntlet, or I don't know, something ends up happening and they're like stuck behind because they can't invis during combat, and then we can't get them back, and it's just a whole mess. So it's like, if it's possible, like if it's not too hard of a week, it's like might as well do it. So yeah, I'm just kind of judging like these first pulls here, doing this stuff. I'm gauging our team's capabilities. So I know I'll live, and the healer and the Havoc Demon Hunter are guildies of mine, and they're also in Discord. So I'm trying to see how the other two DPS are going to fare with this. If you are a Blood Death Knight and you pull him, he doesn't associate with everybody else, but if you have your pet out and you pull him, that pet is going to freaking lunge over to him and pull the other crap. So before you pull this, always make sure that you have blown up your pet or something. I can't speak for a lot of other tanks, but I know Blood DK, it can happen, and it sucks.
It was scared me.
You're the one that told me to wait till the end.
Killing,
I was just looking at what kicks we had.
doing what we do. So I am running. Sorry, I'm having a hard time thinking. This is actually my first content creation like this. I am running Nadia. I'm just going like full DPS build as much as possible. Trying to do what damage I can to make it as quick as possible. We actually timed this with like 5 minutes to spare or something like that on an 18, which this week in 18 really isn't that hard. A few weeks back we had some pretty hard ones where there's no way I would have ran Super Strain for them, because I like to stay in the fight and just keep death striking and healing up, and Super Strain is very good, and there's plenty of ways to get runic power fast with it. Just the harder weeks and the harder keys, I feel like I have to kite more with it. I can't just pop Dancing Rune Weapon twice in a fight and just keep up. This week I'm also, so normally I run Blood Tap, and this week I didn't do that. I ran the other one that gives you health and runic power when you drop your Crimson Scourge. It makes you play more methodically with your runes, but man, I really like having Blood Tap. Is it Blood Tap or Rune Tap? Whichever one it is that gives you an extra rune. You get 2 stacks of that. I much prefer that. I feel like if I have my Death and Decay down, that's 2 more opportunities I could have to really get back some runic power fast, and I feel like that could be on higher keys more beneficial to me. Now, this was also my first week in a long time playing Bone Storm, because I was
right after.
really focused on
Yep.
building runic power and spending it kind of like in a learning moment, like just for me. I felt like it worked out good. So those last 2 packs I just fought a lot of times on Tyrannical. I'll actually combine those and just fight them both together. There's 2 problems with that. One,
Ooh, parried that. Nice.
I feel like it baits out a lot of the DPS's cooldowns, and then they don't have them for the boss. And 2, the inspiring. I didn't want to try and do that with the inspiring. I tried it on a 16, and I don't know, the group I was with
7
just
seconds.
wasn't ready for it, and they weren't ramping up the healing for the party for it. Like I was fine, but
was
it was like the rest of the
expecting a
party
big
was
Yeah,
getting
I was
killed
too. I
by
was ready to death strike.
those ticks that just could not be kicked because of all the inspiring. So if the group is very geared and they
There
can
it
like
is, first one.
blast it, then it might be helpful. But if it's a pug, I don't see it as a good idea, just because I feel like it baits out it looks too juicy, you know what I mean? Like I feel like too many people will use all their cooldowns there and have nothing for this boss, which on Tyrannical Week this is the key breaker. This is what decides almost every pug if this is going to happen or not. So we have 2 different ways to cheese this boss's mechanic with the rush, but unfortunately I'm not sure if anyone did it or knew they could do it. What I mean by that is the mage, if he got it, he could run to the side and ice block, or the demon hunter could run to the side and nether walk, and then none of us take damage and it's fine. Yeah, that was actually my big thing. I kind of screwed up right there moment. Mismanaged a bit. I think actually at that part I was describing how you could cheese that and just wasn't thinking.
Oh, wait, don't get that one.
So I am in no way an expert on Blood DK. I actually started tanking this expansion. I don't get to play that much, so I was really
That'll
tired
work.
of like the queues, trying to get in the dungeons as DPS. So I ended up just learning tanking, spending a lot of time in MDT to get to where I'm at.
Did you look at me if you bring
Also,
them over here?
This is a little
I'll
plug
walk
here.
away.
I play, record, and edit all this footage on Linux. So,
He's gonna die.
you know, I'm kind
I'm
of
gonna take it.
Yeah, I'm bringing them.
just doing all of this stuff
Yeah,
in a platform that I like.
I don't know which is worse, wife aggro or kid
So
aggro.
again, because of inspiring, I would
oh,
normally
oh.
pull all this together if it's a Tyrannical week.
I mean,
But because the inspiring in the second
Just to
pack
keep
up
the
there, I
old
didn't
people
want to
get
do that. I
energy,
just grabbed
just the
these
wave
as it
aggro.
was.
it's the weight, right?
But other weeks I would grab all 3.
Yeah, but the wife aggro is much more
Just kinda-
impactful than the kid aggro.
But put out an AMZ for somebody and just hope it works out.
I'm glad we're discussing the finer things.
So yeah, started taking this expansion just because no one would take a DPS who didn't,
Isn't it the same
have a
impact?
high rating at the time or
When you're a kid.
any of that.
No, because in general you don't have
So-
sex with your kid.
Yep, started taking, spent a lot of time in
Yeah, I'm not
MDT,
even looking at
and
I like how you said in
a
chat.
couple streams I watched. I watched a lot of from Twitch and YouTube, Dark Mech. Watched a lot of him,
Texas.
and then
apparently,
recently
okay.
I've been watching a lot of
Really? So
one
that's fine
Azeroth
print
TV Metro.
and the legalities.
He
You
does
didn't
a
see the
lot
new
of
law
Blood
they just
DK
passed?
pugging and at very high levels, like 22s
Yeah.
and stuff. So he's definitely fun to watch too. But he plays Night Fae, so it's a little bit different there. I feel like it's definitely a harder road to go for, but I mean he likes it. That's great. It's more variety out there. So if you guys want to check out their channels, I can leave links to their channels in the description. So I pulled these 2 together. I pretty much always do this. I always pull these 2 together. The only one that's of danger is this lieutenant, this cold heart guy. I don't know. I just see a lot of
Gargoyle
bugs die to him. Typically these swirls that come out, they die to him while. So this will happen while they're worried about Craggy Fracture from the gargoyle, and that's normally what I see happen. See, Ken just died there because of the blue swirls. I don't know what else is going on, but
You're our first death.
between the Craggy
Yeah, man,
Fracture
it was-
swirls
it
and
was
these
getting
blue
low and
swirls,
he
I
had
see
no
people
mana.
get
Very low.
overwhelmed, and then, you know, I've baited out a few deaths that way. So for these pulls, I feel like a lot of people don't know this, but
Pull.
the
Yeah.
Overseer right there, you can LOS his chains. So a good tank here will pull him in the corner, and yeah, I kind of screwed up the camera angle there
Alright,
because
you
I'm trying to
guys
get
can,
them Igorfiends right
LOS
there to bring them
towards
into the corner. So when the Dread Bindings
Just go
start,
around the corner
you can
and
run
see.
to the other side. I'm going to AMS it, so
Go ahead.
Dread Bindings, I AMS it, so it doesn't hit me. But the next one I won't have it for, so I will run around the corner
Got off.
and then not get the bindings. I just run around that little corner and then come back in. Done. And people who, I don't know, I
I
just,
can't kick any of those.
I don't want to say better people
Yeah,
do it because it's
my
not true.
interrupt doesn't work
Higher
either.
keys people don't know that that's a thing. I don't know
I just
why,
didn't
but
have a kick ready.
I rarely ever see it.
grabbed one.
I tried to interrupt it with disrupt, but it just doesn't seem
Granted,
to
I
work.
don't DPS a lot of keys,
I don't know if I
so
need
I
a
don't really
stun or
see how
something.
the other tanks handle it, but just from reactions of people I play with, they're like, whoa, I didn't even know you could do that.
Do it again.
So little tip there.
Go ahead and open jar.
Anybody wants to know? Oh, see right there, I do it. Right there. I keep them at that spot, and then I can just loop around that corner. Right there is where I did a line of sight. That's a good one to do. So if this is a fortified week, a lot of times I'll pull those guys inside that little room, that little alcove right there, to the left for more. But because I'm not doing any skip, I don't need to have 75% before I go down. So I'm going to skip it this time. You could argue that I could have skipped the small room after the first boss and then gotten this one,
LOS around
which
the corner when you need
might have been a better. It might have been better for, you know, it might have been a better, like, more efficient pull. Doing it that way. I don't know why I did it. I guess I'm analyzing these things. I see more of my flaws. I definitely see a lot of my rotational flaws here. Some of the stuff goes well. I might have played a bit more reserved if I didn't know the healer healing me. So at the time of this recording, I'm like eye level 241, 242, and my healer is 248. So I typically don't care what who heals, because, you know, blood DK, you're mostly keeping yourself alive with good death strikes, as long as you know, you have good runic power spendage. So right there, I was at max runic power for way too long. You never want to cap max runic power. You want to sit around like 85, 90 runic power. So if you get higher than that and the situation is okay, you just use it. Because overcapping is this lost death strikes, and lost death strikes mean loss of blood shield, which is mitigation. So if you're already at max health, or if your blood strike, your death strike would heal you past max health, you'll get a blood shield, depending on your mastery and how much health you have. So, you know, if you're
Every
sitting
time it
on
was time to
max
stack for this guy.
runic power,
In SOA, we
you're
got the
making
quaking.
mistakes. You're losing out on a lot of free mitigation and damage. Like, death strike does damage. I guess one other tip I would say is track your defensive cooldowns and make sure you're using them. Like,
we should have hit
I'm
quaking
using
already.
my Lichborn right now because of the Hardened Bones conduit. Like, try to make sure that you're using your defensives, because if you're not, like, if you're trying to hold them for like one special moment,
I try and time it. I have like a little
you're
timer that
just
tells me,
missing
so I
out
try and time
on a lot throughout a whole
it.
dungeon.
Get you during that.
You know, these things come off cooldown.
What's the
What?
big wave.
2-3 minutes at a time or less, depending.
It's 19 seconds. 20
As blood
seconds.
DKs, we have so many different defensive abilities, mitigation cooldown, so they're worth using pretty often. I mean, if you know you have a big pack coming, you might want to save it for that, but for the most part, if you got it, spend it. Guaranteed it'll be up again, so yeah, we're just really focused on that rock keeps screwing me over. I keep thinking I'm losing threat. I get paranoid, but it's really just the rock pulling threat from me.
Gonna try and bring
Yeah,
him.
I'm just trying to see if this gargoyle is active so I can bring all this
Wait,
to the
do you have
lantern.
aggro?
It's not, so I'm still gonna try and just grip stuff over. Try my best to bring it.
Yeah, tell him to come over here.
Yeah, you have to bring them.
Trying. I can only grab one thing at a time. There's inspiring.
I can't control that. I can't do it. Just attack whoever I attack.
Yeah, just trying to corral everything over here to the urn. I think I called for it to be open right before that other stuff died. And I'm working the fight, but I'm also looking to get as much in here as possible so we have, you know, as much of the boon as possible, because we only have one on our boon right now, the Sinful boon. So I'm trying to stack that up because it was kind of a misplay positionally on my part. And I'm looking here on my right, just looking at my percentages, seeing how close I will be to 70. I'm going to be a bit over. I know I'm going to be a bit over, especially if I hit a statue. Because the one thing I was waiting for here, which didn't happen until after the boss, is the patrol that comes around. And the patrol goes around like the whole dang circle. So, not exactly the whole circle, but pretty close.
This one's got
So,
the next shackles.
I was really hoping we would have ran into it earlier. So I will have to come and take that after the boss is dead. But overall, it's pretty clean. So yeah, my mage is asking if he wants to lust here. And of course, like if we have Sinful Boon, we definitely want to lust here. It's way more efficient to do it, I would say. Because if you won't
Have
have
another
this
walk on
boon on
GG,
the
don't
next
heal me.
boss, and we only get it for 8 more seconds, right? So just try to use as much as possible. And right here, I like to stun the manifestation. He doesn't really pulse when that stun's on. I don't know, I feel like we just take way less with it. I don't know that for sure. So any kind of immunity we can do. I'm also looking, you know, I'm trying to keep my eye on where the swirls are coming. That one kind of caught me by surprise. I wasn't doing a great job. I think, yeah, I AMZ here to just try and help out with those castigates. Get hit by a little bit of quaking. That's unfortunate. That's the thing about playing with a demon hunter on quaking. Demon hunters are so high mobility, it's really hard for them to be jumping around and doing stuff. So you can get quaked pretty easily. Yeah, I think everybody's cooldowns really tapered off here. So stuff started to hit hard and yeah, the fight really slowed. So yeah, I've had a few rotational mistakes for sure, but at no point during the dungeon did I really feel like I was about to die, like edge of my seat, you know what I mean? The whole thing was pretty comfortable. And I know it's just an 18 for the really good and geared players, but I probably put in about 15 hours a week in this game. I don't get a lot of free time. I mostly play with my daughter sleeping, so I would say for 15 hours a week, 18, doing 18s is
A
pretty
little bit more percent.
good.
I don't think we ever got the pat that goes by. Just got unlucky.
So yeah, I see him at 66, so I know I've got some making up to do here.
I see it right there. Oh, got this guy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I pull this. I don't pull the crap on the left, I don't think, because
another
I
group
don't
pad
want to deal
toward
with all
us.
those
Yeah, that's
ghouls.
the one
Even though
I
it's just
normally grab.
tyrannical, it's not a
Just
big
to get
deal,
lucky
but
this time.
I know if I pull
What
this
about
guy
this one
and I
on the
get the
left?
pat,
Nah, if we pull
I'll
that,
be good.
the pat is
So I was
good
kinda
for
just
us.
killing stuff waiting. And my group's talking about it too.
As soon as it gets here, I'll grab it.
'Cause I didn't want to deal with the tyrannical, or the inspired if I didn't have to.
I get
I don't know,
into
I
a.
just feel like
I
people
can't
have a
remember if
mental
it was a
block about it.
17 or
Like,
18 plague fall before.
the thing about inspired is
So I say to the,
a lot of people have mistakes
Group,
with
I'm like,
inspired, and I think a lot of groups don't
are we gonna
understand.
skip?
If you get a big pack with
And
one
nobody
inspired,
answers.
kill the
We're not
inspired.
skipping.
Yeah, I know your
Just gonna go right
damage
there, so
meters
none of
might
this pops.
suffer a bit from it, but
No, I'm
blow
talking
that
about
thing
plague
up
fall
and the
there.
whole pack
Okay,
will go so
well,
much
so-
easier
I
because,
didn't know if you were alluding to.
you know, things aren't
No.
just free casting
So I
all the
said,
time.
are we gonna skip? And
It's only
Like,
for
obviously
45,
use your
right?
best judgment,
That's
but
beneficial for 45.
What
the-
skip
the-
are they
typically
gonna
you're
do?
going to want to just
Beginning.
blow up
So you
that
skip to the
inspired
first
as quick as
mini-boss.
possible.
Oh yeah.
If it's a
so
if
the
it's a
tank
big pull.
goes.
So I was thinking
You
here,
know,
do I grab them all?
honestly,
But I did not want to.
this is the first time I've
I was
done
going to
this
grab
dungeon
these
in this
and
since
the
last
lieutenant at the
expansion.
same time. But I'm thinking two
like,
things.
This is
I'm
the first time
thinking-
you've done this.
I'm
and
looking
you're
at
doing
my
like a
quaking timer.
17? Are you fucking
I'm
kidding
worried
me?
about that because I don't want to
So
have quaking line
I said,
up
well,
with
we
when
can,
he pulls you
because we
in.
had a rogue. I said we can shroud to the
second,
first mini boss. He goes,
I
yeah,
am
let's do
looking
that.
at.
So I said, okay. So of course the fucking
I'm
there's a
looking at the
chamois
inspired for suppression
healer.
for our
He
shaman's
doesn't
healing.
stay with the rogue, and he ends up pulling everything. We wipe.
See, I almost
Then
screwed
he
up
says,
the timing
okay, just do it normal. So we go back.
for the quaking. That could have been real bad.
We wipe fast. We go back.
So that would have
We didn't even
definitely
get
been a
past the
mistake.
first pack. We wipe again. I'm like, oh my god.
What key is
So
this?
it was a
Yeah, so it's just
I like
on a
it.
quaking week.
17 or
It's,
18 plague.
it's really
falls, I don't
sketchy
remember.
trying to pull this guy. I try to
It was at
use
least a
a
17. I know that.
quaking timer like on the top of
Oh,
my
okay.
screen to
So
somewhat
I was just like,
control it.
fuck this. I just got
But
out. We
it's
had
a
9
best
deaths.
guess.
We hadn't even gotten to the first
Doesn't always
boss.
work out right.
Did you pull the lieutenant?
Yeah, they wiped on it. I'm like, I mean, I'm sure the guy could have been a very good tank, but like,
Raiden,
long
right?
time out.
That's the first thing you have to.
So
you're
yeah,
gonna
always
do,
pick
right?
the shield there.
yeah, I mean, go do
Never pick
a
anything
fucking
else but
10 or
that.
something. Go do a 15,
So
anything.
typically down here, you want to
That
make
too.
this 2 pulls. I pretty much made it hybrid 3 pulls, right?
He's
So
a friend.
I pulled the stuff, pulled in the inspired, and then
Nobody
went for the
nobody
guy.
was linked
Kind
up.
of like in a chain, and then
That's
these
pure
two.
fun.
You kind of want to try your best to
Yeah.
make it just 2 pulls. Either this one as a 3-pack, and then use the other one with the 2-pack into the lieutenant. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
boss.
inspiring kind of blows up some of those ideas, but to the best you can, try and make it a 2 pull. So right here,
was worried
a
about
lot
the
of
quaking.
healers have a hard
Alright,
time
I'm not gonna take
healing
any
blood
orbs for you
decays.
guys.
They just see the health and they freak out. But you need to be watching the runic power. If you're a healer, watch runic power. Don't watch health. Runic power is
I got
health.
Basically, you
4.
only need 4 or 5.
So-
5, you don't take any damage.
The iron spikes, dude. I love the iron spikes. I pad the meters hard with it. But a lot of healers kind of rob me of that because they see, they see my health go down. My runic power's a little low right there. I use a cooldown, and I just death strike once, boom, back to full. You know what I mean? So if you're a healer, just track runic power. And so throughout this fight, I don't take any orbs. I just don't need them. The first one I'll use
gonna
AMS, negate it. The second one I'll use Lichborn
So good.
and AMZ. The third one, AMS is backup. And then the fourth one, I don't know, I'll use Icebound or I'll use Rune Tap or I end up using something. So I don't need to take any orbs as a tank. So that's more for all the DPS and everything. That's just one of the strengths of a blood DKs. You have many tools to deal with every problem.
Punching them.
You may not be the best at every problem, but you can deal with every problem.
I don't understand how so many people get so hurt by that when I literally don't take a single one. That's so many more for everybody.
I've been getting 4 every time.
Yeah, you're fine,
I'm
but that
getting-
mage almost dies. every
Yeah, I'm
time.
capped on runic power here. I was trying to pool runic power for the spikes.
Maybe
Because I
he
don't
didn't
think I was
have
going to
size
use any mitigation, just straight healing.
Some people just greed, you know, they don't,
enough. Yeah, they just DPS.
yeah, they think that's the most important.
You know, I'm 18, it definitely won't global me, but it will hurt.
Accidentally grabbed
I think there one spawned on me. I accidentally took one of the orbs. Pretty sure I call it out too. Like, hey guys, I have one here. And other than that, the fight's pretty straightforward. Not much to think about. Just as blood decay, just trying to pool some of your runic power for the iron spikes. You can try and use
Good stuff, good stuff.
rune weapon and parry
Pull it
in
out
one of
here.
them.
Are we gonna skip
I don't
the
think I've ever parried every single
backpack?
one,
No.
We need percent.
Alright, dude. Thanks
So-
for pulling that for me.
but it can happen. Like, you can parry
Appreciate that.
one of them at least. You know, runic weapon.
Was
Well.
not ready for it.
Give you 40% parry chance, right? So definitely can help just negate some damage right there. I'm stepping on these traps for people. If it's a fortified week, I don't think I'll be
Oh,
stepping
you
on
have a cute
traps,
little
but
macro.
I know it's tyrannical. I know it's not going to kill me, so
Darkness, get in.
I step on one and then try and just death strike right after I do it.
So you know.
I
Yeah.
apologize for speaking quietly too. My daughter sleeps in the room above me.
Darkness is so important.
I got kind of a
Yeah.
deeper voice, so it carries, and I just don't want to wake her up.
Too.
That's why I made my little macro.
So part of my UI
Well, I
I
didn't make
need
it,
to
I stole
change.
it.
I really like this add-on where it shows on the kind of right where my button is for the shield. It shows what kind of damage you're taking, physical and shadow and stuff. It's very handy for me to know what I can AMS. If there's a heavy shadow damage like that, I can AMS it, right? Take less damage. So it's great to know what type of damage you're taking, especially from bosses. So you can know what type of mitigation is effective against what you're being hit by. You'd be surprised by some stuff you would think is magic, it isn't, and what you think is physical isn't. So I think it's very, very helpful. Unfortunately, the placement with the button, I don't know if I'm gonna move the button or if I'm gonna move that add-on. Unsure yet. Either way, something has
Good,
to
we
happen
good?
because
Yep.
it gets really hard
I've been
with that
like,
shield with like
moving
3 different types of stuff
80%
going
of
on.
the time. That's fine.
So here
Well,
I'm
you know.
looking to establish threat,
No moss is growing on you, GG.
make sure I'm healthy, safe. I'm looking pretty safe now. Full runic power. I have Icebound Fortitude. I have Lichborn. I actually use IBF here. So I'm trying to pull in everything I can. So one thing to note here too is when Call does her ability that you have to use the shield for, and she starts running, if she does Gloom Squall, if she does that and you start running like I do, you need to be paying attention to her because she drops a lot of her threat table when that happens. So I've done this and just beat feet down the hallway, and I'll have like a mage, like not the ice mage or fire mage, the other one, the arcane mage, will just like unload on her while we're running, and I'll lose threat and he'll start getting hit. So you kind of need to be keeping an eye on it and taunting, trying to get damage on her as much as possible after the fact, because she ran backwards right there because we were going too fast,
She got
which
scared.
is annoying because the dogs still
very
spawn
hard.
over there.
Yeah,
I didn't think
you overpulled. That's why.
Well, I thought
So
you
if
could
you
go
do this gauntlet a little too fast, you actually kind of hurt yourself with confusion there. So yeah, I'm kind of taking steps back, checking it out. Again, if you're a newer tank, the numbers you need to be looking out for to jump down to that third boss from the second boss is if you're not going to do a skip at that gauntlet, the 3-pack, you need to have 70. If you want to skip that 3-pack right before this gauntlet, you need 75 to go down. Percent count. So, and even if you're not a tank, see right there, I lost threat right there. Because she did the thing and it dropped her threat table, and I didn't have enough hits on her yet. Even if you're not a tank, if you see your tank go down the hole to the next boss, and you only have 70% count, you can use a DPS pot on the boss. And you won't be on cooldown for your invis potion. But if he's at 75 and he drops down, don't use a DPS pot at the boss. Because
Oh shit.
Man, I was in the
you know,
thing.
you won't have it. The cooldown won't be
I think
ready
you're
for the
already low
invis
HP.
afterwards.
Yeah,
Ken
the
died
Gloom
there. It was
Squall.
awkward, just like
But I was
before. I
in
talked
the.
about how Call we're too far ahead. Call
Mini
is
Resmir should have released.
hanging in the back, hitting
Just wait,
people,
spin it
getting
out.
nuts,
70%.
and she started doing her gloom squall. Wait, see, the dogs are spawning behind us because of me.
Why is it still running?
This is a mess up on my part. So gloom squall is happening behind us, and I was forced to try and run over there and put the shield down. Ken unfortunately wasn't in it in time, or maybe like a baby toe was out. I don't know. But if you look at the time, we've only had 2 deaths, and I mostly attribute that to our healer. So
Yeah, the gauntlet's still running.
I
Hell.
was not perfect. I made a lot of mistakes, and he definitely made them look like they weren't that bad.
Oh yeah, we do.
Is it bug right now? Or is it still running?
So here I'm just waiting for a fatty bone storm. Make
I
sure
thought when
everybody
you
has a
pass
dot on
certain
them.
point, then stop.
And then, you know, my damage. It's not bad.
But
It gets up
I
to like
don't know, we
8k
had
for that.
I was moving faster than the gauntlet. I was hoping our damage would have.
For blood
we just
DK,
skipped
we
a
have
phase or
horrible
two.
damage. It's our
It just got a little awkward, and that was my
Alright.
fault there.
our damage is definitely better if we take a lot of damage abilities, but
I thought we were moving like
we sacrifice a lot of.
regular pace.
We're the most weak at the beginning of a pull, and
Moving really fast.
we can go way more defensive with the Crimson Rune weapon. That way we're like fine at the beginning of a pull. It takes out like our biggest weakness right there, which makes it so popular in Mythic Plus. You know, we can do that. We will do significantly less damage, at least I do. I can't speak for every other blood DK, but I do way less damage when I use it. Maybe I'm using it improper. I feel way more safe. I would say Super Strain feels more fun. It feels more like a Wrath of the Lich King Death Knight to me. So I have more fun with Super Strain, although a lot of weeks I will run Crimson Rune weapon. So yeah, looking great on time. Everything's going well. I think we have 1 death that I kind of see about to happen. You know, as a tank, I'm kind of always looking at the health because I have a battle res. So I try and check that out and make sure,
Gloom Squall.
you know, it costs runic power for me to res somebody, and sometimes I just can't spare it. So if I think someone's about to die, I'll try and pull up enough to do it. I think it's 30 runic power to res somebody, so
Yeah,
if I
usually
think
healing
someone's
costs
about to die, I'll try and make sure I have at least 35 in the bank so I can bring them back quick.
Fuck.
So yeah, I think Ken's about to die here. Yep, and he
That
does.
was too far
I
away.
was
I couldn't.
I was ready for it.
I saved up some. I was watching your health. I
It
just
kind
started
of
saving up
set me
some
behind.
resources just in case.
Thank you.
See, you got to be thinking about that. You can't just blindly res somebody. You know, I probably
trying to
could have
get these
waited a
fucking
little bit
blurs
longer
out,
to make
but-
sure that I had enough built up. Because if you res somebody and you're
So it
still trying to
doesn't
play just a tad
hit
bit
on
of catch
anybody
up,
else.
it could be the cost of a death strike for you that could keep you, healthy. So
I've gotten every one so far.
try and be mindful of that. Now, top left, upper left, I'm just trying to keep track of Gloom Squall so I kind of know when I need to start running.
It's getting old.
And there,
5 minutes, something to
easy
start.
upgrade. Plenty of time left.
Yeah, that was very nice run. Very smooth tanking and healing.
If you guys want more
Give me the
keys
Sin Smash. Come on now.
posted, let me know. I'll put in the time for these if people actually want to see them. Other than that, see you guys later.